Hello and welcome to The Damage. I'm Gillian Hamilton, your host. Today we're going to talk about so many signs, so little direction. And we're talking about understanding the state-by-state safety requirements in regards to COVID-19. So many signs, so little direction. Okay, as a business owner, most of us have worked out JobKeeper. Some people have had to work out JobSeeker, but most people worked out JobKeeper with the MyGov ID, how to get your super out, how to float the payments that you need to get past to keep JobKeeper. But now we need to get past this national COVID-19 safe work principles. Look, some might even not know, but you have to get past the safe work principles. So what does that even mean? Well, let's ask Google. That's where everybody asks. They go to Google and they say, COVID safety plan. Okay, so they're going to go COVID safety plan. And when you Google that, you get 25 entire pages of results just from Australia. And you get 244 different results of, inverted commas, relevant data. As a business owner or the person being asked by a business owner, what are the rules? Well, let's be honest, it's very, very onerous and it's convoluted. And the government pages are really focusing on health side. They're not really focusing on workplace health and safety. And some states are more tricky than others to get through. And even some of the advisors that are getting around are telling people things that are not entirely correct. Now, we in this podcast are not providing any managed damage advice. We are providing information on how to get to what the government is asking you to do. Look, while the intentions are good, the intentions for assistance are good by other businesses, but the level of detail that's going on is very difficult. It's easy to be confused, and let alone confused, hard to find the information. And when you get to the true and real source, you have to dig through 20, 30 levels to find out exactly what you need to do. And we have to say it is pretty tricky. And we've tried really hard to make it really simple. So to be clear, our existing safety legislation allows for risk management of pandemics or anything. And the challenge is not everybody is already across that detail. So we need some extra help. And it is of the interest of the government to give us extra help because it's public health and we want people to manage this public health. And so people are going to need help to comply. So let's all go to the source. So we went to the source and we went to Safe Work Australia, and Safe Work Australia has been so proud as to say that they have produced 1,300 new pages of information. Well, this is very difficult, 1,300 pages. After you do your best, after you literally click 99 times, and that's when we stopped counting, we try and read and download and do all the things that you're supposed to do as a business owner. We got to 99 things to click and download, and this was just for a hairdresser. Then after you get through all of that, click and download, and you read it and you look down really close and you get to that last little bit, it says, wait a minute. If you need help deciding on how your workplace health and safety apply to you, or what you need to do at your workplace, contact your WHS regulator. Well, who's the regulator? I thought it was Safe Work Australia. No, that also means you have to go to your state regulator, and Safe Work really doesn't do regulation. They just give a good guidance and advice to everybody. But some people don't even know who a regulator is. And we also provide a little element of a crow, and we know that this crow is obviously for Collingwood supporters and frustrated businesses trying to do the right thing. Good try, but we've also included that it is very stressful to try and find these things, and there's lots of different numbers that you can call for assistance, including Lifeline, Beyond Blue and Headspace, because by the time you read those 99 clicks of data and you get to the end of it and you find that you don't even need to do it at Safe Work, so it's very tricky. So all of the states in their regulator pages say, go to Safe Work Australia, they've got additional information. So that's step one. Then after you get to Safe Work Australia, they've got this information that says, okay, here's all these thousands of pages of information we've created, but just make sure you go back to your state regulator because we're not actually the boss here. And so they say, go back to your state regulator. And then step 3 is that every other state says, stay here and do our things, except for South Australia and New South Wales, who say go back to Safe Work Australia because they've got the stuff, except they say go back again. So look, it is very tricky and quite difficult, very, very onerous and quite annoying. And look, we've done this for businesses to try and understand, who are big businesses, what to do in each state. But we thought it'd be helpful to share what's required state by state. So in Western Australia, there's a government regulated plan, and the government will come and check your COVID-19 plan that they've given you. They've given you a template. And this is mandated for businesses who had to close, and they're encouraging all other businesses to have it as well. So if I was a business in WA, I would just download the COVID-19 plan, even if I wasn't closed, and I would use that plan and I would fill it out, because the inspectors are going to come around and say, where's your systems and processes? And even if you didn't have to close, if you don't have those systems and processes that are expected in that COVID plan, well, they're going to say use the COVID plan. So get onto it. It's there. It's a template. Fill it out. So thank you, West Australia. Great job. In Northern Territory, also a brilliant system. They have a government regulated plan, and you have to sign up on the Northern Territory website, kind of like a food license, when you sign on and you get an interim start. Now, obviously with a food license, you can't start, but you sign in, and then the health officers come and they check your workplace. Again, you have to have a COVID safe plan and fill out all these questions, and that forms your COVID safe plan. Again, great job, NT, brilliant job. In the Tasmania, they've put out a brand new law about COVID-19, and it sits alongside the existing laws, and they've got Safe Work Australia advice as well as the new laws, and it's very prescriptive. So again, great job there with Tassie. In Queensland, they currently have a regulated system for 2 groups of businesses. So anybody who's dining, clubs, pubs, restaurants. There's a new COVID safe checklist that you must do, and you have to have it on standby for someone to view. You have to fill it out, and then also every single worker, bosses and workers, not just bosses, everybody has to do the free online TAFE course that's available right now, and you have to also have certificates for everybody to do that within 2 weeks of you reopening. So if you open on day 1, within day 14, everybody has to have done the COVID mandatory training. So look, I mean, why wouldn't you get them to do it now? It's free, it's online, they can do it at home. So that's for all clubs, pubs and dining in the whole of Queensland, not just Brisbane, all of Queensland. And then also the same is for tanning salons, for all these beauty places. They have a specific training as well and a checklist. Now, the government says in their roadmap that they're going to have a series of checklists and plans for all the other different businesses that are on hold right now as well. And you should expect mandatory training programs and or checklists for all these other ones. They're not up to it yet, but that's their current plan. There is a COVID safe mandatory plan you download and use. Again, I encourage Queensland employers to use this COVID safe plan. There's a checklist, there's a template, use it. Put it in place. Even if it's on top of what you're already doing, then you have it. And if an inspector comes, you can say, we've done what you've recommended, and it helps you check through. New South Wales asks you to follow existing OH&S law. The laws do apply still, and they do have coverage for COVID-19. And then they ask you to go back to Safe Work Australia. Also the same in South Australia. They ask you to have a COVID plan. I expect them to give a template very shortly. They could copy any of the states that have got a template out there, like let's not reinvent the wheel, stop paying people to do stuff over and over again. Again, we could have had one plan for every state in Australia, but you know, we want to do things our own way. So be on the lookout for that. You do need to have a COVID plan to operate. They have only just started to talk about that a little bit more. And again, I expect a template to come shortly. In Victoria, they say also follow the existing OH&S laws and then go back to Safe Work Australia for advice. Same in the ACT, and they are definitely have a very good step-by-step to show you how the current laws actually apply as it is. So look, the problem we've got is that our states are not really exactly explicitly working together. If they were, we would be responding directly and exactly in the same way we do for each state. This is not the case, unfortunately, at this point in time. If your business needs help to work between the states, we have worked with businesses to help them navigate getting in and out, and working on essential work is completely possible. And if you need some assistance, let us know. We now go into a bit more detail per state. So in New South Wales, as I said, it's simply follow the law that's already there. They give you links to read the Act and the regulation. And then they ask you to download the Safe Work New South Wales app. Some people might call this the Dob Your Boss In app, but look, it's also there for Speak Up, Save Your Lives. Some people work in a business where they're not comfortable reporting hazards. And I understand the process, but I would really like to see more businesses stepping up and asking their workers to report hazards, have hazard reporting systems and processes. And maybe we should work towards more businesses having systems and processes rather than focusing on a worker revolt. You know, we should work towards more encouragement of businesses actually having systems and processes and the regulator demanding it. Just another option. Western Australia, really great system and process. They ask you to, you know, they've got steps right now. They ask you to have your COVID safe plan, as we said, and it has to be ready for an inspection by the authorised officers. Failure to complete that plan means you're going to get in trouble. And even if you didn't get closed, as I said, you may want to do this COVID safe plan, and you can display a COVID safe checklist or certificate. And look, that might make a customer feel safe to go to your workplace. And the links are there for COVID safety guidelines and a COVID safety plan. Victoria was the first off the mark to prepare a fantastic pandemic preparing for the pandemic guide, and it's a great guide, and it helps people do risk management in their business. There's no other templates. They ask you to rely on the existing laws, and it's definitely possible. But if you're a small business, you're really going to have to work towards doing some safety systems and processes. And it might be helpful to look for a COVID safe template from another state to use at your business, because, you know, it doesn't say you can only use this in Queensland. If you use it in New South Wales or Victoria, I think that would work fine as well. Victoria also has an excellent testing scheme, which is just finished up for the teachers to be tested. So that was also really good. Northern Territory, as I said, excellent regime where you've got to sign up to return. You've got to log in and expect a health inspector to come and see you. You complete your online COVID safety plan, fantastic. You fill it out, you print it out, and everybody's trained on it, you get ready to start. And once you've got that checklist done, you can start ordering your things and you can start getting back to work, and you expect the COVID-19 health inspector coming to check you. So that's pretty cool. In Tasmania, they've got a new law which has got minimum standards to manage the ongoing risks of COVID-19 in the workplaces. And so those minimum standards are new laws. It's in place for 6 months at this point in time. It, of course, will be extended if necessary. They also have some fantastic COVID-19 safe workplace guidelines, which are given for different kind of workplaces. And there's COVID-19 safety plans, which you'll use to outline each of your workplace compliances to the minimum standards. And they've got checklists and templates to follow through. Again, a very helpful result for Tasmanians and businesses in Tasmania. South Australia, a little bit of a challenge there because we've got businesses that are expected to have a COVID plan but not yet a template. I think it'll be seconds before they do release a template. As I said, they've got guidance or fact sheets for different kinds of businesses of things you have to do. If I was a business, I would treat these fact sheets as law. because it is a guidance, it's from the government, it's you know, also part of this COVID-19 regime. So if it says do X under your checklist. So if you're a auction and open inspections, go in there, print out the checklist and make sure you're doing those things, or fact sheets, because if you're not, you know, you could be facing risk or harm. In Queensland, as I said, we've got a COVID safe plan, which is available for download. There's also some key points for businesses with COVID safe checklists. At this point in time, mandatory for pubs and clubs, and cafes and anybody dining, and beauty and nail and tanning. There is also mandatory training. So that's like required by law. Mandatory means everybody, not just like maybe the bosses. And you've got to do it within 2 weeks, so get on board. There's also an excellent WorkSafe Queensland guidance document, which you can use. But as we reopen other parts of the business, there will be other checklists coming out and about. Also, as I stated, Australian Capital Territory is focusing on existing legislation. Again, I repeat, the existing legislation has rules and laws around hygiene, codes of practice around hygiene and all the other elements, and they help you step through each of the different elements of COVID and the laws related to. So also pretty good. Look, it is a bit difficult. You can be a bit confused. It's super confusing when you just Google it. Why don't they want all the same thing differently? Who knows? They all like to do their own things. They're individuals. So let's let them be individuals, but let's us be compliant. And hopefully this has helped you work out what to do next when it comes to the COVID and your business being compliant. Thank you and have an excellent day.